Every struggle founder I know thinks business is all about marketing, sales, and the offer. Every successful founder I know understands that success is all about mastering one advanced skill very few people dare to talk about. I call it systematic detachment, the ability to reset fast when everything goes wrong. With systematic detachment, you scale. Without it, you spiral and eventually you burn out. Systematic detachment means choosing your behavior independently of your current thoughts and emotions. Psychologists refers to this as flipping the object-subject switch. Understanding your thoughts and your emotions and your feelings as objects of your awareness, not as you. It implies that they are just data, not directive, just like clouds in the sky of your mind, not the sky itself. Most founders never train this, and it shows. If they wake up anxious, their whole day revolves around that emotion. If they get a bad email at 9 a.m., they lose the entire day once the survival brain takes over. What happens at the brain level is that under stress, the amygdala, the brain's fear center, triggers a threat response. Cortisol levels spike, your heart rate increases, you get tunnel vision, and you lose your ability to think clearly. Detachment flips the script. You can still feel the spike, the panic, the fear, the ego, the doubt, but you don't become it. You create a gap between your awareness of that spike and the spike itself. And that gap is what helps you create your best behavior when it matters most. Sure, every trigger creates a surge in emotions, in hormones like cortisol that lasts about 90 seconds that you cannot control. But after those first 90 seconds, you can choose to drop it. Untrained founders, they replay that emotion for hours, which keeps the cortisol loop alive. Trained founders, they let go of it. They let the spike die and they are back to executing while everybody else is just ruminating. And how to gauge how strong your detachment is through something I called time to reset. Time to reset is a KPI I created to measure how good are you to getting back on track. If you haven't ever trained this, a bad news can create a spiral that lasts for days or weeks. I've worked with clients in which a lost client became a lost month. If you're a pro, you can probably shake it off by next Monday. If you're absolutely elite, it barely even touches you. You're back to executing within a few minutes. The brutal truth is that your success is capped by your ability to handle your emotions. If it takes you a week to recover from a punch, you will never run an 8-figure company. Bursts of hustle don't win business success because any founder can grind for a week. Those who scale consistently are working on the right thing for long enough to see the results. They are working on booking sales calls, on a shipping offer, on launching campaign. But if you have no control over your emotions, you hijack your consistency on those things. Imagine, for instance, that you lose that deal at 9 a.m. You lament, you replay the call that went wrong, and by 3 p.m. the whole day is gone. That's because your amygdala took over. And there's always the same loop that you run in your head. First you get triggered, then you get distracted, then you miss reps on what matters, and you break your momentum. So for instance, if you miss 3 sales calls this week, that's a total of $100K annual recurring revenue because you couldn't reset quickly. Now, contrast with someone who has actually trained detachment. If they have a back call at 9 a.m., within 2 minutes, at 9:15, they are already working on the highest leverage task. They are unfazed by whatever life throws at them. They can detach from those automatic negative emotions and stay functional doing what matters for as long as they need to, until they eventually win. Systematic detachment really at the core is neuroplastic training. It's rewiring your brain to shorten your time to reset with reps, just as you'd shorten your mile time with intervals. The goal is to make your brain more efficient at dealing with automatic thoughts and emotions, weakening the neural pathways that create those negative emotions and transforming them into a more positive growth-looking pathways. In other words, it's about building a more efficient brain that helps you make better decisions and execute more consistently in business. And I like to train this with the 4R reset. Step 1 is to recognize what's going on. See, the first step, every time you get triggered, is to label the emotion. Maybe it's anger, maybe it's fear, maybe it's shame, whatever. To shift brain activity from the unconscious amygdala to the conscious prefrontal cortex, so you can actually do something about it. Then, what helps is also distancing yourself. This is something psychologists recommend. Instead of saying, I am angry, say, I am experiencing anger. And that distance is what lets you act strategically instead of reacting emotionally. Step number 2 is to regulate it. This is crucial because every trigger dumps cortisol and adrenaline into your bloodstream. Even if you don't release it, your body keeps you in a state of fight or flight. The best tool to reset is breath work, as it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest response, thereby regulating stress. So every time you catch yourself relaxing in the face of stress, you're rebooting your nervous system, so your prefrontal cortex comes back online. Step 3 is to rep it. Once you have stabilized your nervous system, you channel it into the single task to train your brain. Every block that you execute on after being triggered is what builds your brain in the right direction. Every time that you're able to remain functional under stress and work on the right thing, irrespectively of how you feel about it, that is when you're rewiring your brain for elite performance. And the step 4 is to record it. See, the final step is to reflect and encode. Reflection encodes neuroplasticity. When you log reps, note distractions, measure time to reset, you're training something called metacognition, the awareness of your own patterns, which serves as the scoreboard of brain adaptation. The more you know yourself, the faster you can improve. And if your time to reset is shrinking over time and you recover from setbacks exponentially faster, your brain is literally wiring for elite performance. The conclusion is that if you don't control your state, you don't scale, period. The best strategy won't save you if you can't execute it because you are all over the place, because you can't control your emotions. Train systematic detachment, and over time, you rewire your brain for elite performance. You become unbreakable. Now, elite founders are not the ones chasing the next free tip. They're the ones who get free advice tailored to them. That's why they move fast, avoid mistakes, and hit their goals. If you want to succeed by getting personalized help, book a call below, and we'll make sure that you can train this and many more advanced skills as fast as possible. See you in the next video.